Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our English podcast today, video number 4, where we talk about important stuff like nature, environment, and how we can take care of it. I'm really glad you're here with us today. In each section, we talk about things like why trees are important, how to stop pollution, and other cool stuff about nature. We want to help you learn more about our planet and how we can all help to keep it healthy. This video isn't just about learning, though. We also want to inspire you to do something good for the environment, like recycling or using less plastic. Together, we can make a big difference. So get ready to explore and learn with us. Let's start our journey to discover more about nature and how we can protect it. Let's make our world a better place together. Section 1, Our Environment Today. You know, the environment is such a fascinating and complex thing. It's everything around us: the air we breathe, the water we drink, the land we walk on, and all the plants and animals that share our planet with us. And the thing is, we're all connected to the environment in one way or another. Our lives depend on it, and yet we often take it for granted. But the truth is, our environment is facing some serious challenges right now. Perhaps the most urgent of these is climate change. You've probably heard about it on the news or in school. Climate change is happening because of all the greenhouse gases we're putting into the atmosphere, mostly from burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. These gases trap heat from the sun, causing temperatures to rise all over the world. And the consequences of climate change are far-reaching and profound. We're seeing more extreme weather events like hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves. Sea levels are rising, threatening coastal communities and ecosystems, and wildlife is struggling to adapt to these rapid changes, with some species facing extinction because of habitat loss and shifting climates. But climate change isn't the only environmental problem we're facing. Pollution is another big one. It's everywhere, in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. Air pollution, mostly from cars, trucks, and factories, can make us sick and even cause long-term health problems like asthma and heart disease. Water pollution from chemicals, trash, and sewage can harm wildlife and make our waterways unsafe for swimming and fishing. And plastic pollution is a huge problem in our oceans, where it's killing marine life and contaminating seafood. But here's the thing. We can all do something to help. We can make small changes in our daily lives that can add up to make a big difference. Like using less energy by turning off lights and appliances when we're not using them, conserving water by taking shorter showers and fixing leaks, and reducing waste by recycling and composting. We can also support organizations and policies that are working to protect the environment, like clean air and water regulations and conservation efforts. And it's not just about us, it's about future generations too. We have a responsibility to take care of our planet so that our children and grandchildren can enjoy it too. So let's start making those changes today, because our environment is worth protecting. Section 2. A World Without Trees, Imagining the Consequences. Have you ever stopped to think about what our world would be like without trees? Trees are such a fundamental part of our planet, yet we often take them for granted. They provide us with oxygen, clean the air we breathe, provide habitat for countless species, and even contribute to the beauty of our landscapes. But what if one day they were all gone? First of all, let's think about the air we breathe. Trees play a crucial role in producing oxygen through a process called photosynthesis. Without trees, the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere would decrease, making it harder for us to breathe and survive. We might need to rely on artificial oxygen sources to stay alive, which would be a huge challenge for everyone. But it's not just about the oxygen. Trees also help to clean the air by absorbing pollutants and trapping dust and particles on their leaves. Without trees, air pollution levels would skyrocket, leading to respiratory problems and other health issues for people and animals alike. We might see more cases of asthma, allergies, and other respiratory illnesses as a result. And what about the climate? Trees play a vital role in regulating the Earth's climate by absorbing carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas that contributes to global warming. Without trees, the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere would increase dramatically, leading to more extreme weather events, rising temperatures, and disruptions to ecosystems around the world. We might see more frequent and severe heat waves, droughts, floods, and storms, making it even harder for us to survive in a changing climate. But it's not just humans who would suffer from the loss of trees. Wildlife would also be severely impacted. Trees provide habitat for countless species of animals, birds, insects, and plants. Without trees, many species would lose their homes and sources of food, leading to declines in populations and even extinctions. Entire ecosystems could collapse, causing a ripple effect that would disrupt the balance of nature and threaten the survival of many species. Trees are really important for the soil. They help to stop the soil from washing away, keep the water balanced, and make sure the soil stays healthy for plants. Without trees, the soil could start washing away more, which means we might lose good land for growing food. This could lead to not having enough food for everyone, which would be really bad. Trees also help to control the water by taking up water from the ground and putting it back into the air. This helps to keep the weather normal, stop floods, and make sure there's enough water underground. Plus, trees act like natural filters, cleaning the water and making it safer to drink. So having trees around is super important for keeping our soil and water healthy. Trees are essential for life on Earth. They provide us with oxygen, food, shelter, and countless other benefits that support our well-being and the health of our planet. From the towering giants of the rainforest to the humble saplings in our backyard, trees play a vital role in sustaining ecosystems, mitigating climate change, and enhancing the quality of human life. Trees provide numerous economic opportunities for communities around the world. They are a source of timber, fuelwood, and non-timber forest products such as fruits, nuts, resins, and medicinal plants. Forestry and related industries support millions of jobs globally and contribute to local economies. Moreover, forests are a valuable asset for ecotourism, recreation, and cultural heritage, attracting visitors and generating revenue. Studies have shown that spending time in nature and surrounded by trees can have positive effects on our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Trees reduce stress, improve mood, and enhance cognitive function. They also help to reduce air pollution, noise pollution, and urban heat island effects in cities, creating healthier and more livable environments for people. Trees hold cultural and spiritual significance for many communities around the world. They are symbols of strength, resilience, and renewal in various cultures and religions. Trees are often revered and protected as sacred sites, serving as focal points for rituals, ceremonies, and celebrations. By respecting and honoring trees, we can connect with our roots and foster a deeper appreciation for the natural world. A world without trees would be a very different place indeed. It would be a world with less oxygen, more pollution, a changing climate, disrupted ecosystems, and food shortages. It's a bleak picture, but it's not too late to prevent it from becoming a reality. We can all do our part to protect and preserve the trees that we have, whether it's by planting trees, supporting conservation efforts, or reducing our carbon footprint. Because without trees, our world would be a much poorer place. It's imperative that we recognize the importance of trees and take action to protect and preserve them for future generations. By planting trees, conserving forests, and promoting sustainable land management practices, we can ensure a greener, healthier, and more sustainable planet for all. Section 3. The state of our nature and environment. Understanding the challenges. Our nature and environment are facing some serious problems right now. From pollution to climate change, things aren't looking too good. But what exactly is happening and why is it so bad? In this section, we'll break down the current state of our nature and environment so everyone can understand the challenges we're facing. One of the biggest issues we're dealing with is pollution. Pollution is when harmful substances get into our air, water, or land, making them dirty and unsafe. For example, factories release smoke and chemicals into the air, cars emit gases that harm our atmosphere, and trash often ends up in our oceans and rivers, harming marine life. All this pollution is making our environment unhealthy and dangerous for both animals and people. Another problem is the loss of habitats. Habitats are the places where plants and animals live. But as humans expand cities, cut down forests, and build roads, we're destroying these habitats. This means animals lose their homes and struggle to survive. Many species are at risk of extinction because they don't have enough space to live and find food. Losing species also disrupts ecosystems, making it harder for nature to stay in balance. You may have heard about climate change. It's a big deal because it's making our planet hotter. Climate change is caused by too much carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. These gases trap heat from the sun, causing temperatures to rise. This leads to extreme weather events like heat waves, storms, and droughts, which can be very dangerous for people and animals. Climate change also melts polar ice caps, causing sea levels to rise and threatening coastal communities. Plastic pollution is another problem that's getting worse. Plastic is everywhere from our waterways to the deepest parts of the ocean. It's harmful to marine life, who often mistake it for food or get tangled in it. Plastic also breaks down into tiny pieces called microplastics, which can end up in our food and water, posing risks to human health. Despite efforts to recycle, much of our plastic waste still ends up in landfills or the environment, causing long-term damage. Deforestation is when forests are cleared or cut down for things like agriculture, logging, or urban development. This destroys important habitats for wildlife and contributes to climate change. Trees help absorb carbon dioxide from the air, so when we cut them down, more greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere, worsening the problem. Deforestation also leads to soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, and disruptions to local communities who depend on forests for their livelihoods. In conclusion, our nature and environment are facing some serious challenges right now. Pollution, habitat loss, climate change, plastic pollution, and deforestation are just a few of the problems we're dealing with. These issues not only harm wildlife, but also threaten human health and well-being. But it's not all doom and gloom. By understanding these challenges and taking action to address them, we can work towards a healthier and more sustainable future for our planet. It's up to all of us to make a difference and protect the nature and environment we all rely on. Section 4. The environmental toll of human activities. Our planet is facing unprecedented environmental challenges as a result of human activities. From deforestation and habitat destruction to pollution and climate change, the impacts of our actions are evident in ecosystems around the world. In this section, we will explore the alarming statistics and numbers that illustrate the extent of environmental degradation caused by human activities, highlighting the urgent need for action to protect and preserve our planet for future generations. Deforestation is one of the most pressing environmental issues facing our planet today. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, an estimated 7.6 million hectares of forest are lost each year, equivalent to 27 soccer fields every minute. Deforestation is driven by various factors, including agricultural expansion, logging, infrastructure development, and urbanization. The loss of forests not only contributes to habitat destruction and biodiversity loss, but also exacerbates climate change by releasing carbon dioxide stored in trees. The loss of biodiversity is accelerating at an alarming rate, with species extinction occurring at an unprecedented pace. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the Earth has lost more than 60% of its vertebrate wildlife population since 1970. Habitat destruction, overexploitation, pollution, and climate change are among the primary drivers of biodiversity loss. The extinction of species threatens the stability of ecosystems, disrupts ecological processes, and diminishes the resilience of natural systems to environmental changes. Pollution is another major environmental threat that is harming ecosystems, wildlife, and human health. The World Health Organization estimates that air pollution contributes to 7 million premature deaths worldwide each year, making it one of the leading causes of death and disease globally. Additionally, plastic pollution is choking oceans, rivers, and marine life, with an estimated 8 million metric tons of plastic entering the ocean every year. Chemical pollution from industrial activities, agriculture, and waste disposal also contaminates soil, water, and food, posing risks to human health and the environment. Climate change is perhaps the most pressing environmental challenge of our time, with far-reaching impacts on ecosystems, communities, and economies. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warns that global temperatures are rising at an unprecedented rate, with human activities such as burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes driving the increase in greenhouse gas emissions. The consequences of climate change include more frequent and severe heat waves, storms, droughts, floods, and rising sea levels, posing risks to food security, water resources, human health, and infrastructure. The world's oceans are facing multiple threats, including overfishing, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change. According to the United Nations, over 90% of the world's fish stocks are either fully exploited or overexploited, leading to declines in fish populations and marine biodiversity. Additionally, coral reefs, which are among the most diverse and productive ecosystems on Earth, are under threat from warming ocean temperatures, ocean acidification, and pollution. The loss of coral reefs not only diminishes biodiversity, but also undermines the livelihoods of millions of people who depend on reefs for food, income, and coastal protection. Water scarcity is a growing concern in many parts of the world, driven by population growth, urbanization, and climate change. According to the United Nations, over 2 billion people live in countries experiencing high water stress, and by 2050, global demand for fresh water is projected to exceed supply by 40%. Furthermore, approximately 80% of wastewater is discharged into rivers and oceans without treatment, polluting water sources and threatening ecosystems and human health. Addressing water scarcity requires sustainable water management practices, water conservation efforts, and investments in water infrastructure and technologies. Land degradation, including soil erosion, desertification, and degradation of natural habitats, is a significant environmental challenge with far-reaching impacts on ecosystems, agriculture, and food security. According to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, approximately 24 billion tons of fertile soil are lost every year due to erosion, deforestation, and unsustainable land use practices. Land degradation not only reduces the productivity of agricultural lands, but also contributes to biodiversity loss, water scarcity, and climate change. The statistics and numbers presented in this essay paint a sobering picture of the environmental challenges facing our planet today. From deforestation and loss of biodiversity to pollution and climate change, human activities are driving unprecedented environmental degradation with far-reaching consequences for ecosystems, wildlife, and human societies. Addressing these challenges requires urgent and concerted action at all levels, from individuals and communities to governments and international organizations. By adopting sustainable practices, promoting conservation efforts, and advocating for policies that protect the environment, we can work together to protect and preserve our planet for future generations. Section 5. Tackling the Rubbish Problem. Understanding Causes and Solutions. In today's world, we're producing a lot of rubbish, more than ever before. But why is this happening? And what can governments do to help reduce the amount of rubbish we produce? In this section, we'll explore these questions, aiming to understand the causes behind the rubbish problem and identify potential solutions. There are several reasons why we're producing more rubbish nowadays. One major factor is our modern lifestyle. We live in a society that values convenience and consumption, leading to the widespread use of single-use products and packaging. From plastic bottles to disposable packaging, many of the items we use daily end up as rubbish after just one use. Another reason for the increase in rubbish production is population growth. With more people living on the planet, there's naturally more waste being generated. Additionally, economic growth and urbanization have contributed to higher levels of consumption and waste generation. As people's incomes rise and cities expand, so does the amount of rubbish produced. Furthermore, advancements in technology have led to the creation of new products and gadgets, many of which have short lifespans and end up as electronic waste. The rapid pace of innovation and planned obsolescence also encourage consumers to replace their devices frequently, contributing to the growing e-waste problem. Governments have an important role to play in addressing the rubbish problem and promoting sustainable waste management practices. Here are some actions they can take to help reduce the amount of rubbish produced. Implementing waste reduction policies. Governments can introduce policies and regulations to encourage waste reduction and recycling. This may include implementing landfill taxes, banning single-use plastics, and promoting extended producer responsibility schemes, where manufacturers are responsible for the disposal of their products. In conclusion, the increasing production of rubbish is a complex issue with multiple underlying causes, including our modern lifestyle, population growth, and technological advancements. However, governments have the power to address this problem through policy interventions, infrastructure investments, public education, and enforcement of environmental regulations. By working together and taking proactive measures to reduce rubbish production, we can move towards a more sustainable future where waste is minimized, resources are conserved, and our planet is healthier for generations to come. Section 6. Environmental Issues Around the World. Understanding the Challenges We Face. Around the world, countries are grappling with various environmental challenges that threaten the health and well-being of their citizens and ecosystems. From pollution and deforestation to climate change and habitat loss, the severity of these issues varies from country to country. In this essay, we will explore some facts about environmental issues in different countries and assess the extent of their impact. In the United States, one of the most pressing environmental issues is air pollution. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, approximately 134 million people in the U.S. live in areas with unhealthy levels of air pollution, which can lead to respiratory problems, heart disease, and even premature death. Industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, and power plant emissions are major contributors to air pollution in the U.S. Another significant environmental concern in the U.S. is water pollution. Many rivers, lakes, and coastal areas suffer from pollution due to agricultural runoff, industrial discharges, and sewage contamination. The EPA reports that over half of the country's rivers and streams are in poor condition, with high levels of pollutants such as bacteria, chemicals, and heavy metals. In China, air pollution is a major environmental problem, particularly in urban areas where industrial activity and vehicle emissions are high. The country's rapid industrialization and reliance on coal for energy production have led to severe air pollution, with smog and haze frequently engulfing cities like Beijing and Shanghai. Air pollution in China is linked to a range of health problems, including respiratory illnesses, cardiovascular disease, and premature death. Water pollution is also a significant concern in China, with many rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources contaminated by industrial waste, agricultural runoff, and untreated sewage. According to the Ministry of Ecology and Environment, over 80% of China's groundwater is polluted, posing risks to human health and ecosystems. Water scarcity is another issue in some regions of China, exacerbated by pollution, overuse, and climate change. In India, air pollution is a major public health crisis, particularly in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata. Vehicle emissions, industrial activity, construction dust, and crop burning contribute to high levels of air pollution, leading to respiratory problems, heart disease, and premature death. According to the World Health Organization, several Indian cities rank among the most polluted in the world in terms of air quality. Water pollution is also a significant issue in India, with many rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources contaminated by industrial effluents, sewage, and agricultural runoff. The Ganges River, considered sacred by millions of Indians, is one of the most polluted rivers in the world, with high levels of fecal coliform bacteria, heavy metals, and other pollutants. Water scarcity is another concern in India, particularly in arid regions where access to clean water is limited. In Brazil, deforestation is a major environmental issue, particularly in the Amazon rainforest, which is home to a diverse array of plant and animal species. Deforestation in the Amazon is driven by logging, agriculture, mining, and infrastructure development, leading to habitat loss, biodiversity decline, and carbon emissions. According to the National Institute for Space Research, deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon reached a 12-year high in 2020, raising concerns about the impact on climate change and indigenous communities. Water pollution is also a significant problem in Brazil, with many rivers and waterways contaminated by industrial waste, sewage, and agricultural runoff. Inadequate sanitation infrastructure and pollution from mining operations contribute to water quality issues in many parts of the country. The recent dam collapse in Brumadinho, which released toxic sludge into the Paraopeba River, highlighted the environmental risks associated with mining activities in Brazil. In Russia, one of the most significant environmental challenges is air pollution, particularly in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, and burning of fossil fuels contribute to high levels of air pollution, which can lead to respiratory problems and other health issues. In addition, Russia's reliance on coal for energy production exacerbates air quality problems, with coal-fired power plants emitting pollutants such as sulfur dioxide and particulate matter. Water pollution is also a concern in Russia, with many rivers and lakes contaminated by industrial waste, agricultural runoff, and untreated sewage. The Volga River, the longest river in Europe, is heavily polluted due to industrial discharges and agricultural runoff, posing risks to aquatic ecosystems and human health. In addition, oil spills from pipelines and offshore drilling activities in the Arctic region threaten marine habitats and wildlife. In Australia, one of the most pressing environmental issues is deforestation and habitat loss, particularly in the country's iconic forests and woodlands. Deforestation is driven by logging, agriculture, urbanization, and wildfires, leading to habitat fragmentation, biodiversity loss, and soil erosion. The loss of native forests and woodlands threatens the survival of many species, including koalas, kangaroos, and endangered birds. Water scarcity is also a significant environmental challenge in Australia, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions where access to fresh water is limited. Droughts, overuse of water resources, and climate change exacerbate water scarcity, posing risks to agriculture, ecosystems, and human communities. In addition, water pollution from agricultural runoff, mining activities, and urban development threatens the quality of water sources and aquatic habitats. In Nigeria, one of the most pressing environmental issues is oil pollution in the Niger Delta region, where the country's oil industry is concentrated. Oil spills, pipeline leaks, and gas flaring contaminate waterways, soil, and air, posing serious health risks to local communities and ecosystems. The Niger Delta region suffers from widespread environmental degradation, with polluted water sources, deforested areas, and degraded agricultural land. Deforestation is also a significant concern in Nigeria, particularly in the southern forests and the northern savannas. Logging, agricultural expansion, and urbanization contribute to deforestation, leading to loss of biodiversity, soil erosion, and climate change. The loss of forests and natural habitats threatens the survival of many species, including elephants, chimpanzees, and endangered birds. In Indonesia, one of the most pressing environmental issues is deforestation and forest degradation, particularly in the country's tropical rainforests. Deforestation is driven by logging, palm oil production, and conversion of forests for agriculture and urbanization, leading to habitat loss, biodiversity decline, and carbon emissions. The destruction of forests in Indonesia contributes to climate change and threatens the survival of iconic species like orangutans, tigers, and elephants. Land and forest fires are also a significant environmental challenge in Indonesia, particularly during the dry season. Forest fires, often started intentionally to clear land for agriculture, release large amounts of carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the atmosphere, contributing to air pollution and respiratory problems. The 2015 forest fires in Indonesia, exacerbated by drought and El Niño conditions, led to a severe haze crisis that affected millions of people in the region. Environmental issues vary from country to country, but their impact is felt globally. Pollution, deforestation, climate change, and habitat loss are just some of the challenges facing countries around the world, threatening the health of ecosystems and human populations. Addressing these issues requires concerted efforts at the local, national, and international levels, including implementing policies to reduce emissions, protect natural habitats, and promote sustainable development. By working together to address these challenges, we can create a healthier and more sustainable future for all. Section 7. Conserving water resources. Simple ways to protect our most precious liquid asset. Water is essential for all life on Earth. It sustains ecosystems, supports agriculture, and is vital for human health and well-being. However, water resources are finite and vulnerable to overuse, pollution, and climate change. Conserving water is critical to ensuring its availability for future generations and maintaining the health of our planet. In this essay, we will explore simple ways that individuals, communities, and societies can conserve water resources and promote sustainable water management practices. One of the easiest ways to conserve water is by fixing leaks in household plumbing fixtures such as faucets, toilets, and pipes. Even a small leak can waste hundreds of gallons of water per day. Regularly checking for and repairing leaks can help save water and reduce water bills. Simple tasks such as replacing worn washers, tightening connections, and installing water-efficient fixtures can make a big difference in water conservation efforts. Another effective way to conserve water is by installing water-efficient fixtures and appliances in homes and businesses. Low-flow toilets, shower heads, and faucets use less water without sacrificing performance. Similarly, energy-efficient dishwashers and washing machines consume less water per cycle. By upgrading to water-efficient fixtures and appliances, we can reduce water usage, save money on utility bills, and help protect water resources. Outdoor water use, particularly for landscaping and gardening, accounts for a significant portion of residential water consumption. To conserve water in the garden, we can adopt water-efficient gardening practices such as xeriscaping, mulching, and drip irrigation. Xeriscaping involves planting drought-tolerant native plants that require minimal watering, while mulching helps retain soil moisture and suppress weed growth. Drip irrigation delivers water directly to the roots of plants, minimizing water waste and evaporation. By using these techniques, we can create beautiful water-efficient gardens that require less irrigation and maintenance. Rainwater harvesting is a simple and effective way to conserve water and reduce runoff. By installing rain barrels or cisterns to capture rainwater from rooftops, we can collect and store water for outdoor use, such as watering plants, washing cars, or flushing toilets. Rainwater harvesting helps reduce demand on municipal water supplies and can provide a sustainable source of water for irrigation during dry periods. Additionally, capturing rainwater helps prevent stormwater runoff, which can reduce the risk of flooding and erosion in urban areas. In addition to rainwater harvesting, there are several other ways to reduce outdoor water use and conserve water in the landscape. Watering lawns and gardens early in the morning or late in the evening, when evaporation rates are lowest, can help minimize water loss. Using a broom instead of a hose to clean driveways and sidewalks can also save water. Furthermore, choosing drought-tolerant plants, grouping plants with similar water needs together, and avoiding overwatering can help conserve water and create more resilient landscapes. Indoor water use, particularly for bathing, laundry, and dishwashing, also contributes to household water consumption. By being mindful of our water use habits and adopting water-saving behaviors, we can conserve water indoors as well. Taking shorter showers, turning off the tap while brushing teeth or washing dishes, and running full loads in the dishwasher and washing machine can all help reduce water usage. Additionally, using water-efficient appliances and fixtures, such as front-loading washing machines and aerated faucets, can further minimize indoor water consumption. Education and awareness are essential components of water conservation efforts. By educating ourselves and others about the importance of water conservation, the challenges facing water resources, and the benefits of water-saving practices, we can inspire action and promote behavior change. We can also advocate for policies and initiatives that support sustainable water management, such as water conservation rebates, water-efficient building codes, and investments in water infrastructure. By working together and taking collective action, we can conserve water resources and ensure a sustainable water future for all. Conserving water is essential for protecting water resources, supporting ecosystems, and ensuring access to clean and safe water for future generations. By implementing simple water-saving practices in our daily lives, adopting water-efficient technologies and infrastructure, and advocating for policies that promote sustainable water management, we can make a meaningful difference in water conservation efforts. Together, we can protect our most precious liquid asset and create a more sustainable and resilient water future. Section 8. Climate change, the role of individuals in preventing further damage. In recent years, scientists and the news media have been increasingly vocal about the evidence of climate change. The signs are undeniable: rising temperatures, melting ice caps, extreme weather events, and disappearing habitats for countless species. With this mounting evidence, there's a growing consensus that action is urgently needed. However, there's a debate about who bears the responsibility for addressing this global crisis. While governments play a crucial role in enacting policies and regulations, there's a growing realization that individuals also have a significant part to play in combating climate change. Governments undoubtedly have a pivotal role in addressing climate change. They have the power to enact laws, regulations, and international agreements that can significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promote renewable energy sources, and protect natural ecosystems. However, the pace of governmental action often lags behind the urgency of the problem. Political agendas, economic interests, and bureaucratic hurdles can slow down progress in implementing effective climate policies. Moreover, the complexity of international relations makes it challenging to reach consensus on ambitious climate goals. Given these challenges, it's unrealistic to rely solely on governments to solve the problem of climate change. Individuals, on the other hand, have more direct control over their actions and choices. Each person's lifestyle choices, consumption habits, and carbon footprint contribute to the overall emissions that drive climate change. Therefore, there's a compelling argument that individuals bear a significant responsibility in preventing further damage to the planet. Changing lifestyles may seem daunting, but it's essential for mitigating climate change. Simple actions such as reducing energy consumption, minimizing waste, using public transportation, and adopting plant-based diets can collectively make a substantial difference. Moreover, individuals have the power to influence others through their actions and advocacy. By leading by example and raising awareness within their communities, individuals can inspire broader societal changes towards sustainability. Education and awareness are crucial components of empowering individuals to take action against climate change. Through accessible and accurate information, people can understand the causes and consequences of climate change and recognize the importance of their individual choices. Schools, media outlets, and grassroots organizations play vital roles in disseminating information and promoting environmental literacy. Moreover, technology and innovation offer promising solutions to address climate change at the individual level. From energy-efficient appliances to renewable energy technologies, there's a growing array of tools available to help individuals reduce their carbon footprint. Furthermore, sustainable practices such as recycling, composting, and water conservation can become integrated into everyday routines with the right infrastructure and support. However, it's essential to acknowledge that not all individuals have equal access to resources and opportunities to adopt sustainable lifestyles. Socioeconomic factors, cultural norms, and geographical constraints can influence people's ability to make environmentally friendly choices. Therefore, addressing climate change requires not only individual action, but also societal efforts to ensure equity and inclusion in the transition to a sustainable future. In conclusion, while governments play a crucial role in addressing climate change, individuals also have a significant responsibility to change their lifestyles and behaviors to prevent further damage to the planet. By making conscious choices, advocating for change, and supporting policies that promote sustainability, individuals can contribute to a collective effort to combat climate change. Ultimately, addressing this global crisis requires a collaborative approach that involves governments, businesses, communities, and individuals working together towards a more sustainable and resilient future. Section 9. Addressing environmental challenges, the need for global cooperation. Today, our world faces big environmental problems. These issues are so huge that one person or one country alone cannot solve them. We must work together as a planet to tackle these challenges. This section will explore why global cooperation is essential to address environmental problems and what actions can be taken to make a positive difference. Why individual efforts are not enough. Individual actions, like recycling or using less plastic, are important, but they are not enough to solve big environmental problems. For example, even if everyone in one country stops using plastic bags, it won't stop plastic pollution in oceans if other countries keep dumping plastic into the sea. Environmental problems like climate change and pollution don't stop at borders. They affect everyone on Earth, no matter where they live. Moreover, some environmental issues are too big for individuals to solve alone. Deforestation, for instance, requires large-scale efforts to protect forests and biodiversity. It's not something one person can do alone. Similarly, combating climate change requires global cooperation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and transition to renewable energy sources. While individual efforts are limited, countries play a crucial role in addressing environmental problems. National governments can enact laws and regulations to protect the environment and promote sustainable practices. They can invest in clean energy and conservation efforts. However, even the most environmentally conscious countries cannot solve global issues on their own. Climate change, for example, requires coordinated action from all countries to significantly reduce emissions and limit global warming. Despite the need for global cooperation, there are challenges that hinder progress. One major challenge is conflicting interests among countries. Some nations prioritize economic growth over environmental protection, while others may lack the resources or technology to address environmental issues effectively. Additionally, political tensions and disputes can impede collaboration on environmental initiatives. For example, disagreements over resource management or territorial disputes can prevent countries from working together to protect shared ecosystems. Furthermore, there is a lack of institutional mechanisms for global environmental governance. While there are international agreements like the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, enforcement mechanisms are often weak and compliance is voluntary. Without stronger enforcement mechanisms and accountability measures, countries may not fulfill their commitments, undermining the effectiveness of international agreements. Despite these challenges, there are steps that can be taken to promote global cooperation on environmental issues. First and foremost, there needs to be greater awareness and education about the importance of environmental conservation and the interconnectedness of global ecosystems. People need to understand that environmental problems affect everyone, and that collective action is necessary to address them. Second, there must be stronger international cooperation and coordination. This includes strengthening existing international institutions like the United Nations Environment Program and establishing new mechanisms for global environmental governance. These institutions can facilitate cooperation among countries, provide technical assistance and resources, and monitor progress towards environmental goals. Third, there should be incentives for countries to take action on environmental issues. This could include financial assistance, technology transfer, and capacity building support for developing countries. Additionally, countries that take ambitious action to address environmental problems should be rewarded and recognized for their efforts. In conclusion, environmental problems are too big to be managed by individual persons or individual countries alone. Global cooperation is essential to address these challenges effectively. While there are obstacles to overcome, such as conflicting interests and weak enforcement mechanisms, concerted efforts at the international level can lead to meaningful progress. By working together as a global community, we can protect our planet for future generations. Section 10. How our generation can protect our planet. Simple actions for a sustainable future. Our planet is facing unprecedented challenges, from climate change and pollution to habitat destruction and loss of biodiversity. As the custodians of the Earth, it's essential for our generation to take proactive steps to protect and preserve our planet for future generations. In this essay, we will explore simple actions that individuals, communities, and societies can take to promote environmental sustainability and ensure a healthy and thriving planet. One of the simplest and most effective ways to protect the planet is by practicing the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. By minimizing waste, conserving resources, and recycling materials, we can reduce our environmental footprint and mitigate the negative impacts of consumption on the planet. Simple actions such as using reusable bags, water bottles and containers, composting organic waste, and buying products with minimal packaging can make a significant difference. Energy consumption is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. To reduce our carbon footprint, we can take steps to conserve energy in our daily lives. Turning off lights and appliances when not in use, using energy-efficient appliances and light bulbs, and insulating homes to reduce heating and cooling costs are simple yet effective ways to save energy and reduce emissions. Additionally, transitioning to renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower can further reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and promote a cleaner, greener future. Transportation is another significant source of greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. By choosing sustainable transportation options such as walking, biking, carpooling, and using public transit, we can reduce emissions, alleviate traffic congestion, and improve air quality. Additionally, investing in electric vehicles and supporting infrastructure for cycling and walking can help accelerate the transition to a low-carbon transportation system. The food we eat has a profound impact on the environment, from deforestation and habitat destruction to water pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. By adopting a plant-based diet, reducing food waste, and supporting local, organic, and sustainable food producers, we can promote more environmentally friendly food systems. Eating lower on the food chain, choosing sustainably sourced seafood, and growing our own fruits and vegetables are additional ways to support a more sustainable and ethical food system. Natural habitats such as forests, wetlands, and coral reefs are essential for supporting biodiversity, regulating the climate, and providing ecosystem services that are vital for human well-being. To protect these valuable ecosystems, we can support conservation efforts, participate in habitat restoration projects, and advocate for stronger environmental protections and policies. Additionally, avoiding products that contribute to habitat destruction, such as palm oil and products made from endangered species, can help reduce our impact on fragile ecosystems. Environmental issues disproportionately affect marginalized communities who often bear the brunt of pollution, environmental degradation, and climate change impacts. To promote environmental justice and equity, we must advocate for policies and practices that prioritize the needs and rights of vulnerable populations. This includes supporting efforts to address environmental racism, promote clean air and water, and ensure access to green spaces and healthy environments for all. Education and awareness are key drivers of change. By sharing information, raising awareness, and inspiring others to take action, we can amplify the impact of individual efforts and create a culture of environmental stewardship. Whether through social media, community events, or educational programs, each of us has the power to educate and inspire others to protect our planet and create a more sustainable future. Protecting our planet is a collective responsibility that requires action at all levels, from individuals and communities to governments and businesses. By adopting simple yet meaningful actions in our daily lives, supporting sustainable practices and policies, and advocating for environmental justice, our generation can make a positive difference in protecting and preserving our planet for future generations. Together, we can create a more sustainable and resilient world for all living beings. Section 11. How every country can reduce pollution. Simple steps for a cleaner environment. Pollution is a global problem that affects the health and well-being of people and ecosystems around the world. From air and water pollution to plastic waste and chemical contamination, the impacts of pollution are far-reaching and severe. Fortunately, there are simple steps that every country can take to reduce pollution and create a cleaner, healthier environment for all. In this essay, we will explore some practical measures that countries can implement to lower pollution levels using very simple English for easy understanding. One of the most significant sources of air pollution in many countries is vehicle emissions. Cars, trucks, and buses release pollutants like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter into the air, contributing to smog, respiratory problems, and climate change. To lower pollution from vehicles, countries can encourage the use of public transportation, promote walking and cycling, and invest in cleaner, more fuel-efficient vehicles. Implementing stricter emission standards for vehicles and promoting the adoption of electric and hybrid vehicles can also help reduce air pollution. Another major contributor to air pollution is the burning of fossil fuels for electricity generation and heating. Coal, oil, and natural gas power plants release pollutants like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and mercury into the air, leading to respiratory problems, acid rain, and climate change. To lower pollution from energy generation, countries can transition to clean, renewable sources of energy such as solar, wind, and hydropower. Investing in energy efficiency measures, promoting energy conservation, and phasing out subsidies for fossil fuels can also help reduce pollution and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Improper disposal of waste is a significant source of pollution in many countries, particularly in urban areas. Landfills release methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere, while plastic waste pollutes waterways and harms marine life. To lower pollution from waste, countries can implement recycling and composting programs to reduce the amount of waste sent to landfills. Encouraging the use of reusable products, banning single-use plastics, and promoting sustainable packaging can also help reduce pollution and minimize the environmental impacts of waste disposal. Water pollution is a serious problem in many countries, with industrial discharges, agricultural runoff, and untreated sewage contaminating rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources. To lower pollution of water sources, countries can enforce stricter regulations on industrial discharges and agricultural practices, improve wastewater treatment infrastructure, and invest in water pollution monitoring and management. Protecting and restoring natural habitats such as wetlands and riparian areas can also help filter pollutants and improve water quality. Educating the public about the importance of pollution prevention and environmental conservation is crucial for fostering sustainable behaviors and attitudes. Countries can incorporate environmental education into school curricula, raise awareness through public campaigns and media outreach, and support community-based initiatives that promote environmental stewardship. By empowering individuals with knowledge and skills to make informed choices and take action to protect the environment, countries can build a culture of sustainability and collective responsibility for pollution reduction. Reducing pollution is a shared responsibility that requires coordinated efforts at the local, national, and global levels. By implementing simple measures such as reducing emissions from vehicles, transitioning to clean energy, improving waste management, protecting water sources, and promoting environmental education, every country can contribute to lowering pollution levels and creating a cleaner, healthier environment for current and future generations. Together, we can work towards a more sustainable and resilient world where pollution is minimized and the natural beauty and diversity of our planet are preserved for all to enjoy.